What is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is W Shadows, or as some of you may know me as White Shadow. Today, we're back with a brand new video after a pretty damn long break. Now, as some of you may or may not know by now, one of my all-time favorite L2 servers, AgeofSplendor, is coming out with a brand new iteration of its servers on the 28th of June. As per usual, you know what this means. Plenty of new custom changes in regards to both balance as well as in-game content. So, what we're here to do today, we will be going over these changes one by one, dive a bit more into detail as to its practical effects on the game, as I do have a bit of experience, from the previous servers, and some of these changes have been consistent throughout its seasons. So we can give you a better idea of what to expect once the server goes live. So without further notice, let's get started. All right, now let's get started. Now, all of the information I will be going through is available on the website. The website will be linked in the description. It's AgeofSplendor.com. But as I said, it will be linked in the description, as well as with the knowledge base that's on the server. Discord server made by Gavana, probably one of the best players I've honestly ever played versus and with, maybe at some point, but I'm not sure, who really went into a huge amount of trouble to put together a wiki with all of the information that you would need to play in a classic server. Like a lot of important shit. Even I, catch myself sometimes learning a bit from there. Now, let's get started. So we're gonna go with general information. These are all of the changes, basically all the information that you need to know. Let's start. As I've said, the server, there's a lot of custom shit on the server. If you haven't played at any point AgeofSplendor, you will learn that there's a lot of custom shit. The game has been honestly redesigned so that pretty much every class is playable, bringing skills from a bunch of Chronicles, Interlude, High Five, Classic, maybe even Essence, bringing together into one client in order to make sure that pretty much every class is playable and enjoyable in its own way. So pretty much everybody can find something they can enjoy if they just take a quick look. Now, there are all buffs. There is a community buffer that on this server only gives the main quote-unquote profit buffs. I want to say profit, but just the main buffs like Berserker, Shield, Greater Might, etc., etc. All these buffs that are already helping a lot. If you do want to get the full buffs, like dances, songs, and the third class specific buffs, such as Chant of Victory and everything else, you will need the specific classes for those classes. So in this case, if you want to get Prophecy of Water, you will need an Elven Elder. If you want to get Prophecy of Fire and Counter Critical, you will need a Prophet at high level. So, having a buffer will be absolutely important. Now, you don't need all of them, just one. As I said, they've recustomized the buffers so that one buffer can pretty much give everything. So the main dances and songs every buffer is gonna get. The main profit buffs every buffer is gonna get. As said, with the difference being the class specific skills. But it already gives a lot more than. It's a lot easier than having to box 3-4 characters so you can have full buffs. There is auto farming. There's probably one of the most advanced auto farming systems I've ever seen. These guys have really pushed it to make it as convenient as possible. You don't need to bot. In this server, you absolutely do not need adrenaline or whatever the fuck people used to use back in the day, L2 Tower or whatever. You don't need any of that. You have auto farm that's very, very pretty well optimized. You have HP pots, you have MP pots, you have a lot of stuff. Honestly, it's absolutely very, very smooth. The quality of life on this server is extremely high. Now, let's get started. First of all, no Camels, Death Knight, Sylph, Thea, Vanguard is, as I said, this is classic. Camels were available on the previous seasons, but honestly, they caused more issues than they did anything else. You know, there weren't many players that were playing them, and those that were abused the living shit out of them. So here we go, no Camels on this season. The Vampiric Rage skills are 50% effective for range attack and skills, 33% effective for AoE skills. This is also a pretty big thing. In a lot of other servers, you can, you know, at this, in everything Classic 2.9 plus, Vampiric is pretty much working for every class. No matter how much damage, no matter what kind of class you do, Vampiric works. Here it's slightly reduced, as it was a bit too OP, to be honest. As you know, a mage with 2-3 AoEs could pretty much just solo AoE 24/7. As I mentioned, community board dances, songs, and special buffs have been removed. There is no magic lamp, no random crafting. Pretty much every skill is available for auto farming. There is no auto farm PvP. Elemental spirits have been reworked into attribute stones. We will go into those as well, as there is a separate tab just for them. And they are 2 primes for Europe and South America, or I should say overall America, the entirety of the Americas. So pretty much you will always have something to do, you know. You will PvP, let's say you're American, you will PvP once at like 2-3 p.m. and then later tonight, if you feel like it, 6-7 hours later, you can PvP again on South American time, which is honestly very, very exciting. Now the rates at the moment, these may not be final. You know, they're on the website. I think they're a placeholder at this point, but I do not believe they are final as of yet. So we will get back to them at some other point. The buffs. As I said, pretty much every buffer is going to have everything they need. It's also the combined buffs. It's like the poems. Let me zoom in a little bit. Poem of critical attack, which is combined, Death Whisper and Focus. Poem of celerity, which is combined Wind Walk and Agility. And a bunch of other buffs, really. So you don't need, it's going to be a lot harder to get overbuffed when, you know, all the dances, songs, and regular buffs are combined. So that's actually really, really cool. And you can also have them auto right-clickable, which means a buffer doesn't need to be fully active. They just right-click their buffs, and every time that somebody in the party doesn't have the buff, they're going to automatically buff it. What else would you want, you know? Quality of life all the way. Now, the attribute system. If you had played Classic before, and I don't necessarily mean a custom Classic, just regular Classic, you would know that the intended system for elements is spirits, aka elemental spirits. You go into an area like Garden of Viva, Wall of Argo, something like that. You kill mobs, and you gain attribute XP. With said attribute XP, you can level your spirit up. That is not a thing here. It's been reworked. I could say, I guess, reverted, as it goes back to the previous system of attributes from High 5, or I think it was added in Gracia Finale, maybe, I'm not entirely sure, with crystals, fire crystal, water crystal, wind crystal, and all the good stuff. You can add these to a weapon and to an armor, and it will increase your attribute resistance and attribute attack, which is a huge thing. It's absolutely huge, but this is kind of I should say a bit of a end game-ish thing to focus on. You won't have to deal with it, in my opinion, for the first or 2 weeks of the server, unless the server, you know, moves on a bit faster than I thought it would, than I think it will. But, you know, later on, when we will go to Chromatic Highlands or Garden Genesis, we will be able to farm elemental stones and put them into our armor, making our characters a lot more OP. There's also these fire attack, water attack potions that also increase your attribute damage. Very important. Now, only one attribute is allowed per item. You know, as per usual, pretty much. For weapon, I think you can put one attribute. I think for armor, you may be allowed to put 3, but I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to go back on that. Now, as to the epic bosses. At the moment, it says epic bosses have all been set to level 80. This might not be the case for the first stage of the server. As the first stage of the server will most likely be lower level than 80. It's probably going to be around level 70 or so. Once again, I'm not entirely sure. This is just, you know, a theory. It will get confirmed within the next few days. But the epic bosses will be set to the specific level of the first stage of the server. So let's say the first stage is going to be 70, maybe the epic, let's say Zaken or whatever, they're going to be 75. And unlike Essence, They don't spawn like 2-3 times a day. This is a weekly respawn, as we're used to in Old School Classic. Queen Anne being on Mondays, Core being on Tuesdays, Orphan Wednesdays, Zaken Thursdays, and Bayam on Fridays. So pretty much every day of the week, you will have to group up with your clan or your side and kill the shit out of everybody else so you can get that beautiful, beautiful epic for your side. Epic priests will spawn based on the epic boss. They will appear after the epic boss is defeated and have a lower chance to drop their jewels. So now this pretty much just adds an extra fight to the whole epic daily fights, as pretty much after the clan, let's say whichever clan finishes killing Queen Ant Drone Priest is then going to spawn outside of Ant's Nest, and then there will be a second chance for the enemy clan to win and maybe get a decent chance at getting a jewel. Obviously, it is smaller as it is a priest and not the actual epic itself. But who's gonna say no to an extra, let's say 10-15% chance to get a level 1 epic, you know? And even more, who's gonna say no to extra PvP, as that's what we're all here for. Now, the mythic bosses, one of the latest addition to this server. It's basically an extra 2 bosses, huge bosses, like a community-wide event, where people will be able to go and fight the bosses, but they will not get flagged. There will not be automatic PvP in here. The group is to allow solo players and people that aren't necessarily in clans to participate in the game content and really get to enjoy Lineage 2 as we all like to do it, with 200 people smacking on a huge boss. So it's going to be really nice. Pretty much everybody who deals damage receive mythic shards, which can then be redeemed in Hunter's Village. I will go over and show the store as well, seeing pretty much everything you can get for that. I'm really hyped to see it in action. I really believe that it will be a chance to see 200 plus people in one spot, on top of the clans that will be fighting each other. So in my opinion, lots of good fun. Now, instances. Kamaloka has been a thing for a few seasons now, and it's just like the old school versions of Kamaloka. It's been brought back. It's an extra daily instance you can do. It has some mission rewards at the end that can allow you to get epics and a bunch of other cool supplies. So I would heavily recommend doing the Kamaloka daily. As I said, you'd be missing out. And you know, of course, Kamaloka is always fun. Always been a cool instance in my opinion. It's been pretty badass. The mobs you get to kill and the drops are always worth it. So, you know, I would check it out. The captains are pretty much in the same areas they were in the previous versions. Gludio being the 23-29, Dion 33-39, Giran 43-49, Orin 53-59, sorry, 63-69 for Aiden, and 73-81 plus in Goddard. So they will be Kamaloka available for every level range. Daily epic instances. This is one of the coolest thing. As you know, probably one of the most tilting things, pretty much everybody has dealt with it at this point, is going to do some mass PvP, and you know, with your side, you win, but unfortunately, you're not the one that gets the epic, because that, you know, there's always going to be a party that's going to want it more, or for whatever reason, as a solo player or maybe as a group of 2-3 people in a clan, you're not going to get priority for epics, and that's not necessarily fair. You know, everybody wants to be able to get an extra jewel. So this is where the daily epic instances come in. In the previous seasons, it might be different here, but I don't think so. There's an instance you can do with 2 to 7 people. I think it's 78 plus for Queen Ant, Orphan, Core, and Zaken. And if I remember correctly, it's a weaker version of the original raid. Obviously, it's made so you can kill it with 2 to 7 people with a full party. And at the end, they can drop B grade gear, as well as 5% chance to drop a level 1 epic. So, you know, considering this is something that every party can do daily, you know, 4 times a day, you know, you'd be a fool not to do that. You'd be, you know, it would be a big mistake not doing the daily content. So as you see, there's already a lot of content in the game itself that allows you to get gear and high end allow you to do high-end content, which is really sick. There's also the Sanctum of Spirits, as well as the command channel instances for Battle with Frinteza, Battle with Bayam, Sanctum of Spirits, which is also an extra opportunity to do some clan content. In the case of Battle with Frinteza and Battle with Bayam, it's an opportunity to get an extra Frinteza and an extra Bayam jewel, which is absolutely huge. Now, for Castle Siege, probably the most important and most enjoyable part of Lineage 2, of course, Castle Siege. They will be going on every Sunday. I believe it should be about the entirety of the event of the siege should last about an hour or so, with 2 castles at the moment being Giran and Goddard. Both of them will be happening at the same time, from what I can tell, and in both cases, the winning clan get some pretty sick rewards, like this passive for Castle Lord's Benefaction, which is 20% XP SP bonus, as well as 10% Adina drop, which is huge. This is for every person in the clan. Lord's Crown, which is you know, pretty powerful item. Really, it's a Circlet of Splendor, which is also an item you can buy in game. That's pretty much just very high level. Lots of good stats in there. Olympiad. Olympiad will be happening on every Friday and Saturday, with hero being given out on Sunday. The hero weapons, as mentioned in here, will give adaptive power based on the pace of the server, which means that if the server, let's say, is capped at stage 1, the hero weapon will not be the one you would think. The one with, let's talk about a 2-handed staff. It's not going to be the equivalent of a 2-handed S-grade staff. If I remember correctly, with the stats, it's at +7 on top of the passives. So here, obviously, it will be nerfed, as a hero at level 70 with a weapon, with an S-grade weapon +7, slightly too OP. So it will be nerfed in order to, as it says, match the pace of the server and make sure it's not too unbalanced. There is also a pretty nice thing that helps with a bit of an Olympiad, which I honestly thought was a pretty big issue in the past. I'm glad they've done, they've done some changes regarding that, as Olympiad in Classic has been pretty stupid in the past, simply due to debuffs having extremely high land rate, like stunned and mental attacks having pretty much a 90% land rate if you don't have a set to resist against that. So everybody gets this little buff here, Lucky Charm, when they enter Olympiad. It increases sleep, hold, mental resist by 30%, and HP regeneration by 20%. So it should help quite a lot against some classes like, let's say, a Necro who's going to fear you, Overlord, and all that good stuff that makes you want to fucking die whenever you get feared into a wall. Now, one of the coolest things as well to the server, hourly events. As on a bunch of other servers as well, there are events every hour or so, every 1 or 2 hour. In this case, I think it says 1 hour, but it might be more. I'm not entirely sure. A bunch of different ones actually, which all give their own different reward. The rewards themselves are worth it. If I remember correctly, at the end of the event, depending on what kind of event it is, so let's say team versus team, the team that wins is going to get an X amount of L coins. It's going to get a rune, at least before they used to get an XP rune, as well as some other medals that you can use to buy consumables and supplies in the game assistant. So there's team versus team, hunting grounds, which if I remember correctly, hunting grounds, this should be, yeah, it's some sort of TVT, domination, capture the flag, fight for the throne, which is some sort of siege, deathmatch, last survivor, gladiators, which is 1v1s, pretty much to the end, Korean style, as it used to be called, and a bunch of other cool events. Now this is going to be something really quickly. The game assistant, which is pretty much, as it says, a game assistant, has exchange coupons for various weapons, armors, jewels, cloaks, and agathons. You can exchange soul shot tickets, purchase spell books, exchange raid points, gem fragments, agathon bracelets, and it's also a pretty nice place because it kind of, if I remember correctly, it allows you to use some of the services while not being in town as well, which means that you might, if I remember correctly, you have access to a warehouse from outside of town. You have access to a blacksmith that can remove remove and equip soul crystals into your weapon. A lot of cool stuff. Now, mentors. This is something that has been very underused, which is absolutely worth it. Basically, before your character reaches level 20, you have a chance to pick a mentor and set mentor as you level up. First of all, you will have an XP bonus for having a mentor. Second of all, set mentor will be getting rewards from you leveling, and you will be getting rewards for leveling as well. So it's literally just free shit, you know? So the only thing you have to remember is that you cannot use it above level 20. So when you start the server, if you have another character, or maybe a friend or a party leader, however you want to use it, just make sure you use their code, you use somebody's code so you can get that free little bonus for the rest of the server. It's free, extra supplies, why not? Now cosmetics, this is really cool as well. There are a huge amount of costumes, both in terms of weapons, armors, cloaks, shields, whatever you want. You can definitely find something for your taste and customize your character to look as badass as humanly possible. Like in this case, as you can see, the cloaks themselves and the costumes, you can really make your character look as goofy or as badass as you want him to look. Or in this case, a weapon shield appearance, where you can see a carnage bow looking as a oh, sorry, where is it? Oh yeah, a carnage bow that looks like a Zarek thrower. There's no stats to it, so you know, don't be worried about thinking this is pay to win. It's just looking badass while you slaughter your enemies. Now, zone updates. These are custom changes to the areas. In this case, Varka, reduce monster difficulty and experience and rewards. Change top A grade drops to low A grade. Ketra is pretty much the same. Hot Springs, more rewards. Now, basically, adding a bunch of areas where you can pretty much farm and gear up your character. Imperial Tomb, Hot Springs, Ketra Orc, Outpost, Varka Seleno Stronghold, and a bunch of cool other spots where you can gear up your character. Clan Strongholds. Now this is an Essence inspired mechanic, pretty simple. There's a clan stronghold in a bunch of areas, in this case Giant's Cave, Inner Giant's Cave, Devil's Isle, Tower of Insolence, Hot Springs, Ketra, Varka, and Imperial Tomb. All you have to do is claim it, really. It's just an NPC, you go and speak with it. If you have a clan, you claim it, you claim the stronghold. And pretty much what that will give you is a small XP. It says small, but it's considerable. If I remember correctly, it's something like 20-30%. And it takes every 5 minutes. So as long as you're within the area of the stronghold, everybody in the clan will be getting that little XP buff, which helps a lot. And if some other clan wants to take it, first of all, they have to kill it, which makes them flag. They will start hitting the stronghold. It will take a bit for it to die. They will flag, and there's an opportunity for you to defend it. So there's really an opportunity for you to fight people pretty much everywhere you go. L2 coin has pretty much become the most basic currency in pretty much every server in the past few years. You can get them in multiple ways. In this case, you have either getting them from drops from mobs, buying them, as you can buy L2 coins with real world currency, or events. And now those events that I mentioned earlier, they help a lot. So basically what you see over here, level 40-49 is 12.5k L coins per day, is the brackets at which, this is the amount of capped L coins you can get in a single day by just straight up farming. By just auto farming, by the end of the day, you will have gathered at least, let's say if you're 50, 59, you will have gathered 15,000. And as most of the server will be happening, in the 60 to 75 range or 76 plus, we're talking about 20, 22,000, 25,000 plus L coins a day on top of the events that you can do to get some more and, just overall get a distance between yourself and the other players. Now, additional currencies. Credits, which you can get for obviously donating. You can also get them from selling items in the AOS store, or World Exchange. What World Exchange is actually straight up just a way to legally RMT. You can sell items, consumables, you can sell supplies, you can sell anything you want there for real currency. So if you just dropped a sick ass fucking bow, you're the first in the server, and you want to sell it and actually gear up and shit, the best thing to do, you just put your bow into the world exchange. You put it, let's say $100, and somebody who has $100 in their in-game balance can buy it, and you will get said balance to gear yourself up. So really, a bunch of cool things. Now there's PC points, which is pretty much just for being online. You can buy a bunch of supplies. Raid points, you kill raids, exchange for various consumables. Event medals is obviously cashing in the rewards for participating in events. Ancient Kingdom coins is from hunting monsters across the world. You can exchange for consumables, which I'll show a bit later as well. Gem fragments you can buy with raid points, but they also do come from the daily mission rewards. Like the dailies I mentioned, they all give a bit of gem fragments at the end that you can use to exchange against other consumables, and the mythic fragments, which I mentioned from the mythic bosses. Now this is the world market, as I mentioned. There's also a Discord channel where you can see people, what item has been bought, what item has been sold, at which price. All the information that's on there, really cool. I highly recommend you check it out if you want to try and make some money off of that. Really, really cool thing. And there's obviously a DKP system and shop where people can try to, if they want to distribute gear through DKP, they have an in-game system. Okay, now this is the bulk of the changes. There are both changes to items, skills, and that's pretty much it. Now, the items. There are quite a few armor sets that have had their original bonuses reworked because for multiple reasons. In some cases, their previous bonuses were absolute dog shit, and this is a way to make them a bit more popular, make some sets slightly more useful in some scenarios. So a bunch of cool stuff like that. In this case, as you can see, Zubei heavy set has dagger resist 5%, paralysis resist 30, comp plus 1, PDEF plus 10%. Zubei robe has paralysis resist 30%, casting speed 5%, in plus 1, M attack plus 10. So in this case, I think it's just a demon set on crack, if I remember correctly. Avedon, this is probably one of the most important ones. All the Avedon sets have gotten their original boosts, plus mental attack resist plus 30%. So, the smartest thing you could do would really be just to have a bunch of sets with specific resists for everything. So when you start playing in Olympiad or other shit like that, you can just swap around sets and be comfortable against whichever enemy you're facing. So in this case, if you're facing a Necro, switch to your Avedon set so the debuff resist, or if you're facing a Warlord, you switch to Blue Wolf for the stun resist. Let's continue. Doom Heavy, Doom Heavy has Sleep Hold Resist. All of the Doom sets have Sleep Hold Resist. Doom Robe has, for example, M crit damage plus 300, in plus 2, men plus 1, wit minus 1. The A-grade sets that are also less used also have a bit more love given to them, like DC Heavy set, DC Light set, which has P crit 4%, attack speed 4%, SDR 3 and con minus 1, or Talon Heavy. All of these have some extra love. I will highly recommend you to check them out and see exactly which one would be best for your class. Now, the fun part. Here we go. The skills. These aren't really that important. It's important to know, though, that if you are on a mount, you will have PDEF, MDEF minus 50%. So be careful how you use that. Amber isn't an active skill anymore. It just gives pure PvP damage percent. Level 5 Amber giving 5% if I remember correctly. And yeah, Opal, I believe, has had its active ability reduced because it was too OP. Clan skill changes. These are new. I think these are only used for clan leaders, like Clan Res, resurrects nearby clan members, Clan Haste, 50% speed for 15 seconds to the entire clan, Celestial Shield for 15 seconds, Stun Resist, Hold Resist, Sleep Resist, clan escape lock, and clan resurrection lock. A bunch of cool shit right here for the clan leaders to use. But now, here we go. The actual true balance. Now, all the classes really have been changed in one way or another. In this case, all warriors get rush at level 56 with a dynamic cooldown of 3 seconds when used in PvE. So if your character is just auto-farming and not-flagged, instead of having to wait 10 seconds between rushing from one mob to another, it's 3 seconds, which is absolutely fucking cool. Sonic Burst or Sonic Storm has reduced cooldown and casting time, increased power, and does not consume momentum. You will still need momentum stones, or an infinite momentum stones, but it does not consume momentum. This is like an important distinction. I've been confused in the past. Sonic Rage has slightly less damage, and dual weapon defense lasts 15 seconds rather than 45. Destroyer Titans, they have Spirit of the Hunter, which increase PvE damage and defense. A lot of classes will have this buff to boost their PvE damage, which is super sick. Titanic Sacrifice sacrifices 90% of your max HP to recover 5k CP and 1000 MP. Full Swing AoE ability, 3-second cooldown. Zealot can only be used at 30% HP or lower, and Broad Sweep cooldown increase to 70 seconds fixed, duration increase to 30, 40, 50, 60 seconds. Okay, well, not necessarily the biggest deal. GK, Spirit of the Hunter again, Force Burst, Force Storm, pretty much the same thing as the Gladiator, reduced cooldown, casting time, more power, no momentum. Same thing for Zealot, and Raging Force as well reduced. Now, these are, I would say, the most new changes for spoilers and crafters too. I believe we get them too. In this case, it has had Spirit of the Hunter. They also get it. They also, now in this case, this is a case of the spoiler. They also get a cubic. In this case, the cubic increases the PvE damage of the entire party by 5%, and the Adena drop in spoil rate by 10%. This is considerable. This isn't something you will want to miss out. So if you want to, main a spoiler for one reason or another, there's an extra reason for you right there. This one too. Axe Throw. Hurls an axe at the enemy, dealing damage and stunning them. Spoiler just received a ranged stun in Classic Lineage 2. Do you realize what that means? The pure disgust that will come from Spoiler. Ah, beautiful. Lucky Strike spoils and deals damage to monsters around you. AoE Spoil. Mass Disarm, super OP, level 80. Battle Roar at level 40 and Throw Fight at 46. Cool stuff. Maestros, once again, Spirit of the Hunter. These guys get a cubic for PvE defense and max HP by 10% for the entire party. Axe Throw as well. And they also have Sharpen Edge, Bowstring, Hard Tanning, Embroider, as well as Mass Disarm, Battle Roller, and Thrill Fight. Now, the tanks. Spirit of the Hunter as well. Combat Aura Toggle that increases the stats of your party members within 1,100 range. Increases their PM attack and attack casting speed by 5%. Huge. Provoke Aura automatically provokes nearby monsters to attack you. That's pretty sick. You don't necessarily need to get a Warlord anymore to pull. A tank can also just walk around and pull mobs by pressing the Provoke Aura. Guardian Angel, which honestly is, I'm kind of divided on that. I'm not really sure how it's gonna go, but it's pretty much party UD, but it's just for one person. Whichever person you target, you will take 90% of their damage. They will take 10%, and just be a lot tankier for 15 seconds. UD no longer immobilizes, instead reduces speed by 90-80% depending on the level. 90% for level 1, 80% for level 2. Mass Chain Strike can only pull 7 people with dynamic cooldown, and Chain Strike can be learned at 56 with, once again, dynamic cooldown when used in PvE. Phoenix Knight gets the Paladin, gets the Imperial Phoenix. Gift of the Phoenix, proc whenever using the aggro, which increases your party's PM def, and Physical Mirror, which is also pretty sick. Hell Knight, Judgment, pretty much nothing new. Horror, cannot overlap with another fear and has a fixed 5-second cooldown. People may think that's, a huge nerf. Not overlapping is definitely something considerable, but the fixed cooldown is, still manageable. 5 seconds for, you know, it used to be like something like, what, 3 seconds? Now it's 5 seconds. It's still pretty good. And Gift of Anger, whenever using aggression, has a chance to increase your party's PM attack. So you always want to be aggroing with your tank. Same thing. Ava's Templar, Gift of Ava, whenever using aggression, increase your party's PM def. Magical Mirror and Touch of Ava, restore HP of party member by 50% and 50 HP continuously. That's huge. Level 80? That's pretty big, I'm not gonna lie. It helps. And for Shillian Knights, Shillian Templar, when using aggression, has a chance to increase your party's PM attack. There is also an additional change, and that isn't showing here, that I think it comes in the term of the land rate of Mass Lightning Strike being slightly better. But I might be wrong. Now, support / bard skill. These are quite important, as they've all gotten some sort of changes. They've all gotten some sort of mechanics, some sort of love to make them more enjoyable and playable as a main class. Let's start. All of the supports, in this case, the supports being Prophet, Sword Singer, Blade Dancer, Warcry, and I think Overlord, they all get the poems and harmonies. All supports here, except Overlord and Dominator, they also get res at level 56 with a 10-second cooldown. So now you will have BD, a Sword Singer, who can res, as well as a Prophet, but they also could do that. So, you know, cool stuff. Now, Bishops. Bishops and Cardinals. Lesser Mana Burn. Decreases the enemy's mana, cannot be used in Olympiad, replaced by Mana Burn, which is going to be at higher levels. So at 56, you get Lesser Mana Burn and Lesser Cleanse, which is honestly quite good. It was quite annoying PvPing against people level 56 and not having something to remove your debuffs, especially when all the debuffs are, you know, such high land rate. Erase is here as well. Banishes an enemy servitor. If successful, the summoner will be blocked from summoning new pets for 5 seconds. Major heal, major group heal, that it replaces greater heal and greater group heal at 76 plus. Divine Oath, which evolves Might of Heaven into Shining Ray, which looks really cool. I think it has like more damage and like some other multipliers to it. Super cool. Turn to Stone. Turn yourself into a stone. Increase PDef, MDef, but decrease movement speed. This is the Enchanter version of Turn to Stone, where you literally just turn into a fucking brick and start moving around, taking, you know, close to no damage. Balanced Life learned at 56. All these buffs here. Party returned to 48. And Mana Burn replacing Lesser Mana Burn at 76. Now the Prophets in Hierophants as well. Lesser Cleanse, Lesser Mana Burn, but they get Lesser Chain Heal. Heals the 10 most injured allies around the target for up to 15% of their HP. Huge. It's a level 78, granted, but 15% AoE heals. We'd take that. Turn to Stone as well. Spell Turning cancels the current skill cast of the target. Interrupt. That's, holy shit, that's cool. I'm actually curious to see what kind of cooldown is on this. Because if it's like a 3-second cooldown, I don't think so, but who knows. Mystic Immunity is a party-wide buff. So whenever Prophet pops it, I think it's level, it might be 56 or so. I don't know why it doesn't show here. But when you learn it, the Prophet will literally just give Mystic Immunity to the entire party for 15 seconds, which is cool. PR and Mass Res, cool. Elven Elders get Stigma now. The Stigma, I think it should have the same abilities as Stigma of Shillian. Reduces melee attack and MDef, and this is the AoE version of it. Lesser Mana Burn, Erase, Lesser Cleanse. Eva Serenade reduces all parties' damage taken to 56 plus, also very nice. Swap Defense, increase MDef but decreases PDef. Major Heal, Major Group Heal. Lesser Chain Heal as well, like the Prophet. Tree of Life, which from what I've heard is also quite good. You know, healing nearby allies with the possibility of cleansing 1/2 debuffs. So if your party is farming, you know, fighting within the area of the tree, it's gonna get a lot of stuff done. It's passive heals plus, you know, a chance to cleanse debuffs. without actually needing somebody to cleanse you, which is really cool. Blessed Blood, party members have the chance to heal when attacked. Block Windwalk, which I will mention. I will get back to it in a second. Duration change to 10 seconds. This is a slight nerf. Greater Battle Heal, which is also learned. Mana Burn and Enlightenment. Now, Block Windwalk. I'm mentioning this for a specific reason. Both Block Windwalk and Block Shield will have amplified effects in this server, as as you may have noticed, the buffs are combined. Now, the reason I mentioned Block Windwalk and Block Shield being so significant here is because of the combined buffs. As you see right here, for example, Carol of Haste gives increased party members' attack speed at 20%, casting speed by 50, spell cancel rate by 35, and movement speed by 25. So this is Dance of Fury, Dance of Concentration, and Song of Wind in one dance. So if somebody hits you with Block Windwalk, they're going to cancel all of these buffs. Basically, you're going to lose Dance of Fury, Dance of Concentration, and Song of Wind in one cast. And on top of that, you also lose Poem of Celerity, which is, Windwalk and Agility. Now, SCs. Same thing, Lesser Mana Burn, Erase, Lesser Cleanse, Blessed Blood we saw earlier, Swap Defense, Major Heal, Major Group Heal, 76+, Lesser Chain Heal at 78. And now, with the following additions, Stigma of Shilin, reducing a bit resistance to bows, which is something new, on top of the melee resist, as well as the MDef, that's also reduced. PR, Vitalize, and Mana Burn. Now, Work Criers, they also get Lesser Chain Heal. They also get Turned to Stone, but they also get Symbol of Noise, which is also an old school ability. Spawns a magical symbol which has a chance to cancel enemies, dances / songs within the radius. Absolutely OP. AoE fucking wide cancel. Great Fury, which has gotten a pretty big buff. Now the activation rate is a lot easier than it used to be, and it also, on top of the attack speed, it also increases casting speed and PvE damage by 20%. Pretty big. War Chant, Earth Chant, Greater Might, Greater Shield, now passive skill, same thing. Bow Mastery, Rapid Shot, and Long Shot. Now this can be quite interesting. I think they're trying to make Warcrier be playable as well as a main character, possibly as a DD as well. You can just load up a bow. You shouldn't have, technically with Bow Master, you shouldn't have a penalty towards the bow, towards casting speed if you use a bow, but we'll see about that. Rapid Shot, obviously, to increase the attack speed and make it viable, and Long Shot, so you don't shoot people from 400 range, so you can actually be quite good, and Enlightenment. Now, Overlords and Dominators, Lesser Chain Heal, Turn to Stone, Seal of Limit. Pyrogonal Fist increases CP. Oh, okay. Increases CP by 800, 1,000, 1,200, and 1,500. Duration increase to 5 minutes. And Fear has been nerfed as well. Now, BDs. Gift of Shilin, as well, that we saw when using aggression, has a chance to increase your party PM attack. Provoke Aura, which is nice. Defense Motion, increase your PDef, MDef, and skill evasion. Dance of Bladestorm for 15 seconds for party members, bow resist plus 65%, M attack minus 99%. Symbol of Noise, same thing, spawns a magical symbol, has a chance to cancel dances and songs. Rush at 56 with dynamic cooldown, as well as 2 cubics learned at level 40 and level 43. Swordsinger, same thing. Gift of Ava is the same ability as the Temple Knight. When using aggression, has a chance to increase party's MDef, PDef, MDef. Provoke Aura as well, you can pull. Psycho Symphony, decrease attack, casting, and movement speed of nearby enemies. Quite big. As well as Battle Whisper, that increases your own PM attack, P crit, power, and attack speed. Song of Meditation, this is nothing really new. Song of Windstorm, for 5 minutes for a party member, increase bow resist by 10. Big. Symbol of Noise as well. Rush with dynamic cooldown, and Life Cubic. Now, we're almost done. We're at the mages. All the following changes. All of the mages, except Necro, I believe, will have a blink, which is really cool. Allows you to get out of sticky situations. Elemental mages will all get their version of the Seed. Seed of Fire, so Seed of Wind for Spellhowler, Seed of Water for Spellsinger. Resist Fire as well, the elemental version for every mage. Flame Armor as well. same version for the same thing for every mage. Aura Blast, which every mage will get at level 82 with 160 power, very OP. Aura Flash has been reverted back to how it used to be pre 3.0, where it could actually cancel the target of enemies with a bit less of a cooldown. Blazing Skin, Arcane Chaos, Slight Nerf, and Enlightenment. Now, Necromancer is the biggest piece of shit, the biggest pieces of shit in all of L2. Nerfed Fear, as every other class you saw, Hell Knight, as well as Dominator / Overlord. The pets have a fixed 10-second cooldown on the resummon, so you have to be careful how you use them. Arcane Power and Enlightenment. Now, as I said, Spellsinger, Warp, Seed of Water, Resist Water, Frost Armor, Aura Blast, Aura Flash, Freezing Skin, which affects all party members, Arcane Chaos Nerf, and Enlightenment as well. Spell Holler, Warp, Seed of Wind, Resist Wind, Hurricane Armor, Empowering Echo, which is also actually quite big, increase M attack, MP consumption at level 80, Aura Blast as well, with Aura Flash, Arcane Chaos, and Enlightenment. Now, Summoners. Warlocks get a brand new summon, the Feline Sniper. I've tested a bit in the beta. It has a lot of potential. If you're able to, if you're a good summoner player already, you should have a lot of fun with the Feline Sniper. In this case, the skills it gets is the Stun Shot, which is, Stun Shot, like any other archer, Arrow Rain, which is an AoE, and a Party Buff that increases the party member's bow attack range by 100 and peak crit damage by 5%. Peak crit damage, whatever, it's nice, it helps. I'm not gonna shit talk this, but the bow attack range plus 100 is huge. I think it has some huge potential there for some cool things. Servitor Frenzy, increased PM attack of the servitor significantly, and Ethereal Strike deals non-elemental magic damage, 10-second cooldown. It's basically an extra nuke for the summoners. Same thing, Kai the Cat, Feline King, 10-second fixed cooldown time, so you don't just spam them every 2 seconds. And the Gift / Blessing of Queen is a buff that the summoner itself can give. So you don't actually need the Feline Queen anymore. You get it at level 56, and it scales as you go through levels. Now, Elemental Summoner, same thing. Servitor Frenzy, Ethereal Strike, the 10-second fixed cooldown time on the ponies, as well as Gift Blessing of Seraphim being, a skill that the summoner learns. Phantom Summoner, Servitor Frenzy, Ethereal Strike, same thing. The cooldown nerf for the pets, but Summon Nightshade. It doesn't show here, but I'm pretty sure that these summons can, that Phantom Summoners can learn it at level 56. The first level at 56, which is a super OP summon. I've always had fun ruining people's experience with it. Whoever tries it will as well. Dark Burst has, Spectral Lord has an ability to replace Corpse Burst Dark Burst instead of Corpse Burst. You can use it on live people. It does slightly less damage because otherwise too OP. Now, Daggers, some of my all-time favorite classes. I've absolutely loved playing it. They also get Spirit of the Hunter, which increases PV, damage, and defense. Mortal Strike at level 56 to increase the critical blow rate. Lucky Blow, which is Spoil, deals damage and spoils the enemy. They also get Sweeper, so they can actually loot it, obviously, which is quite cool. Daggers are pretty good farmers. They have Razor Rain, which is an AoE ability learned at 46, also quite decent. It's not going to be a mage. Obviously, it's never going to beat a mage in AoE, but it helps. All of the blows do damage. This helps. One of the things you have to deal with when playing Dagger is just missing your fucking skills, unfortunately. In this case, a little custom change added where if you miss a skill, a stab, it will do as much damage as an auto attack. So you're basically guaranteed to get some sort of damage no matter what. Trick and Switch is also canceling the target. This was a change done in 3.0 where Trick, Switch, Aura Flash, and all those skills did not cancel the target of enemies. This was reversed as, it was a pretty dumb change. Critical Wound has higher range. And Shadow Step dynamic cooldown with 10 seconds when used in PvE, so you can just dash around to mobs. Wind Rider, evasion, duration reduced to 15 seconds. This is pretty much the only nerf to daggers. All of these changes, all available to all of the daggers. They all have it. They're all going to have their specific skills, of course, but these skills in particular are available for the daggers. Now, archers. You know, it affects Hawkeye, Phantom Ranger, Silver Ranger. Quick retreat, just like mages. Mages can blink forward, archers can port back. They have multi-shot at 82, which deals damage to enemies in front of you, and a cone, I assume. And yeah, pretty much these skills are affecting all of the archers. Now, more specifically, the Hawkeye get the skills that these guys get is quite good. So with an archer setup, you know, if you want to have the biggest chance, you probably want to have a bit of one of every archer. So for Hawkeye, the skill is counter dash. When attacked, has a chance to increase your party's movement speed. I know what the stats is. I've seen it happen multiple times. Counter dash is 40 speed to every single person in the party when it's procced for like 15 seconds. Huge. Counter rapid shot as well. When attacked, has a chance to increase your party's attack speed. I think it's like 15% for the Moonlight Sentinel. And the Phantom Ranger counter power, chance to increase your party's physical skill power by like 10-15% as well as burst shot, you know, to bring it to the same level as the other archers. There's also pets, which are very useful. You can buy them. You can either buy them with you know, do the quest, or buy them with Adina, or just get a ticket from the L2 store. They are very good at 55 plus. Once you make them improved, they heal and recharge constantly in a very high amount. So eventually, when you get the chance, I would highly recommend that you get a pet and level them up. Anyway, with all being said, this is pretty much the gist of the changes that will be coming to the next server. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you find it, you know, instructive. Hopefully, it's gonna hype you up for what's coming, and you know, get you ready ahead of time so you know what's gonna happen. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are. I will be streaming the beta. At the moment, it's a closed beta. The beta will come out within a week, but I will be streaming the closed beta and the beta for the next week or two, as well as the server when it comes out on launch. So make sure you stick around and follow the stream at twitch.tv/wshadows for live content. And one of my games crashed, I guess. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on here. Take care.